Hey, everybody, welcome back to the A to Jump podcast. This is episode 10. We are now in double digits. As
Good.
always, I'm your host, Jake, aka Gooba, and I am joined by my good friend and co host, Justin of Justin Games. How are we doing today, Justin?
I'm here.
That is,
I'm ready.
there
It's
you
been a
are.
while. Now, last time you said, "Hey, we should record. We should record this week, like last week," and I said, "There's nothing really going on. There's nothing to talk about." And boy, there's been plenty to talk about now.
Yeah, there is.
And I think we got just a dump in like a week. Just a ton of new stuff.
It's one of those weeks where it was like, yeah, there might be something to talk about. And then now we're looking at this list. I'm like, I don't know if we have time.
Yeah, we might not have enough time to get to all of it, but we're gonna breeze through as quickly as we. So,
Yeah.
We didn't have any comments on our last episode, so nothing to recap there. But I'm going to. I didn't warn you about this, but I'm going to hit you with a really random question.
Okay.
What do you think your 17th favorite game of all time is?
17th? Oh,
17th favorite game of all time.
Did you just think of that, or did someone ask you that? Or
No,
like,
I thought of it myself.
oh man,
That's what my brain does when I'm alone at night all the time.
dude, I mean, it took me like a week to think of my top 5 because it was just like,
Okay,
oh man.
I'll go first.
Okay.
I thought about this for a while, so this is
Okay.
kind of cheating. But I think it's Assassin's Creed Unity.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why. I couldn't I didn't sit down and list 1 through 16 and then come up with that, but I really liked that game, but I didn't love it.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Well, now I'm trying to think of games that I like played through that I enjoyed, but I like haven't gone back to. Um. Okay. Let's think here. Shoot, dude. It's too hard to think of like, all right, it's
Yeah,
like, oh, I like that one, but that's probably in the top 10. Like,
right. So it's difficult because it's got to be a game that, like I said, that you really enjoyed, but like you didn't super enjoy. Like
yeah,
that was a very okay game.
yeah. It's
But
like
I still think about it.
that was a game I played.
Yeah, I think about Assassin's Creed Unity a lot. I think about Arno and Elise
Mm-hmm.
and that little quarrel there. That was fun.
Okay. You know what? I think I do have one.
All right, let's hear it.
The Order 1886.
Wow.
That
Okay.
is
That is a very random game.
that is a game that gets a lot of flack because
Yeah.
it was very short. The story was hit or miss, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember that game specifically because it was one of the earliest examples of like true next gen. I mean, at the time of the PS4, it was like
It was like
the
a
next gen.
it was like the PS4 launch title, right? Like
I don't know if
PlayStation
I don't know if it was
hyped.
launch, but it was like super hyped when
Yeah.
PlayStation came out. Like, this
PlayStation
is gonna
hyped
be,
it
yeah.
and nobody liked it.
But I played through the whole thing. It's not long. It's like 6 hours, but I thought it was pretty good. I have not played it since. I haven't really thought about it. I did watch like a video on it recently talking about
Uh-huh.
how it was underrated, um, which I did sort of agree with, but I also haven't gone back to play it. So I guess I
Yeah,
think
same.
that's going to be my answer.
All right.
It was
Yeah,
a
I
good
agree.
game.
I played AC Unity once too,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like, yeah, it's something you think about.
Mm-hmm.
You really enjoyed it, but
Well, I think about like thinking about favorite games, like even the ones in my top 5, like games are so long sometimes. Like there's at least one game in my top 5 that I've only played once. I mean, it was Spider-Man. It was very long, but
I think that that's okay. I don't
Mhm.
think in order to be your favorite game, or some of your favorite games, you've had to play them several times
Mhm.
because I mean, I've only played Breath of the Wild once,
Mm-hmm.
but I played The Witcher like 6 times.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7 6 times. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's tough. But okay, so Jake's 17th favorite game. The Order 1886. There it is. You have it.
Go ahead and cancel me already,
Yep, put
gatekeepers.
it. Okay, so since last we talked, this happened like just the other day, but E3 is officially dead.
Yeah.
Rip. Gone.
So I do have a lot of thoughts on this, but I would
Okay,
like to hear where you're
let me
going
run
with
down
it.
the rest of the episode first.
Okay.
Dive into it. GDC happened. Nothing too exciting, but we'll kind of maybe I just kind of want to go over what maybe GDC is. Maybe people don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard of it or anything like that. We got new Zelda gameplay. Very exciting stuff out of that. We got new Final Fantasy 16 updates. It would not be an episode of the A to Jump podcast if we did not talk about Final Fantasy 16.
Mm-hmm.
And then Resident Evil 4 came out. It looks really cool. Neither of us have played it, but we have some thoughts to share.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's time, we'll touch on The Last of Us show. And Jake wants to comment on the Part 1 PC release.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, E3. Sorry,
You're
E3
good.
fans, but it's gone. What are your thoughts? Let's hear them.
Well, I somewhat agree with you that E3 is dead. I think with it being canceled 2 years in a row now, and then like it's had a rough go for a while now, especially like even just back in like 2019, I think when Sony dropped out, I felt like that was a really that was telling of what the future of E3 was going to be, because like one of the big three like people to be there. So I think that the E3 that we've come to know over the years, where it's like the event where if you're lucky enough to go to it, or even if you watch it online, it's like this is where you're going to get all of the gaming news for the year, like all the
Right.
big releases, all the new trailers. I think that part is dead. But I don't think E3 itself is dead yet. It's not. It's never going to be what it was, and I think it's only going to be in a decline from here on out. But the reason I think it's not dead is Reed Pop, who puts on PAX and a couple other conferences, I guess are somehow involved with E3 now. I don't know if they're running the whole thing or if they're just like it's a collaboration, but they are still going strong with PAX at least. Like that's a pretty big conference in the
Yeah,
gaming
I guess
space.
where I get kind of confused about it, like you said, PAX is still pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
Gamescom still exists. That's not an American thing, but why specifically does E3 not make it, but everything else does?
Um, I think that like I feel like E3 kind of had the gaming community in like a chokehold for a long time. It was like if you want like before, the internet was as big as it was, like you could still game developers could still release a trailer or whatever and like their fans would find it. But E3 for the longest time was like if you weren't super caught up in like keeping up with your favorite developers on Twitter and YouTube and all that stuff, you were going to see everything at E3. It was like
Yeah.
one weekend where they could just cram all of the information for the people who aren't super involved in keeping up with it. But now I think that with all of these developers and like Sony and Microsoft, Nintendo, all doing their own like directs and updates throughout the year, there's not as much like pull for them to be there because
Right.
they're going to pull the same amount of viewers on their own live stream rather than paying, millions of dollars to just be a part of this showcase.
Right. I think E3 really kind of focused on like announcements and release trailers
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. And I guess maybe Jeff Keighley just came around and kind of did it a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it cost millions of dollars to go to GDC or to E3, set up a booth, send your best people and, put them in a hotel, and then they have to, give presentations and
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like, especially the big three, kind of got tired of doing that, spending all that money and all that time.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not easy where they can just send Jeff Keighley a trailer and something else,
Yeah.
and they're good, or just have their own live streams
Mm-hmm.
like Nintendo's and like everybody's been doing, but Nintendo kind of started it, I think.
Yeah.
And I guess that just kind of made nobody even care about E3 anymore, I guess.
Yeah. Something else that I sort of learned during, like, while researching for what's been happening with E3 is that it wasn't just about, media getting to see these things. It was also where a lot of developers would like have their biggest meetings of the year with like other like publishers and things like that
True.
because it's everybody in one place. So on top of you know the media and fans getting to see what people are working on, it was also their way of like selling their, if they weren't published yet or something, that was their way of selling it to publishers and like
Right.
having those meetings while everyone is in LA at the same time. um so I don't know if they're gonna try and like keep that as a part of it, but if
Maybe. Well, I kind of feel like maybe some of the other conferences are picking up that slack. Like,
mm-hmm,
we're going to talk about GDC next. That stands for Game Developers Conference. That's
mm-hmm,
not really something you're going to go to find hottest new release. You're not going to see the next Zelda trailer at GDC.
mm-hmm,
That's where all the big, even like Nintendo was there, and sure PlayStation was there, and so I mean, maybe other conferences will pick up that slack too.
yeah.
Um, but
So
yeah,
if I can say one more thing about this, I think
yeah,
if we were to kind of separate each of these major events by what they are like their main pull is, I think PAX is still kind of the in-person event if
that
you
in game
want to
that
be,
in
yeah, like,
Gamescom, yeah,
yeah, or PAX and Gamescom, those are like the in-person ones. There's usually some sort of live stream or trailer or something like that,
yeah,
but it's a lot more for people to go and actually test out these games,
yep,
and it's a lot more focused, I feel like, on indie titles.
yep. I was just gonna say that. I think it's gonna be way more important for indie
Yeah.
developers.
GDC is definitely more on for exactly what it says. It's for the game developers to kind of
Hmm.
see the advancements in the technology and kind of see the more of the business side of things. Um, and then, the major developers and stuff have their own uh, live streams to show the fans everything else.
Yeah,
So E3 doesn't really have like one thing that it does that's like unique anymore.
I agree.
Like,
And Mel, do you think there will be another event called
yes, I do actually. Like, and that's what I was saying with like, with Reed Pop
right?
taking over in some capacity. They're going to try. I think that there will be another E3 event. I don't know if it'll be next year, but they're gonna do something. How successful that's going to be, I think, is up for debate.
Yeah.
I think
We had talked about it. Like, I don't really know what E3 is. I know it's electronic something expo.
Entertainment Expo.
And okay, there. That's what the E3 is. But I think it's owned by a company called the ESA. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what they do, what they accomplish. Like we had talked about, dive to figure out exactly. I'm sure it's just a company that does something else that puts on an event.
Mm-hmm. So, according to the Google machine, ESA stands for Entertainment Software Association. So, yeah,
Very broad title.
it kind of seems, and this is going off of no research except for just reading the title and looking at the main page. Um, it looks like it's not necessarily focused on video games. It's more of like a conglomerate, if that's, I don't know if that's the right word. Like, they are just a company that is like focused on media in general.
They're
And
probably a pretty. What do you think they do on a
I
day-to-day basis?
I don't know. Like,
Oh, that just seems so weird.
so according to their website, it says the Entertainment Software Association is where the major players of the video game industry, so it is focused on games, work together to support the bright future of video games. But that sounds vague. That doesn't
That's
sound like,
extremely vague. Like, do they? I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe
it
we'll
doesn't,
do a little deep dive
yeah,
for next episode.
yeah.
Okay, so E3 maybe not dead, just resting.
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah, it's
Okay,
building up
so
strength.
yeah, here we go. Okay, so GDC happened. Again, that's the Game Developers Conference. We already happens there, but I thought it was really cool. I listened. If you're not aware of a media outlet called InMax, I listened to them a lot, and they sent a couple people GDC, and they just kind of attended all these different talks and that around podcasts. Um, and I thought it was pretty interesting because like Nintendo sent some, I can't remember, to give, Nintendo is usually super secretive about everything,
Mm-hmm.
and they sent somebody to give a talk about Kirby, how they designed Kirby, and you know, like the beginning moments of that Kirby franchise. Really cool. Something I would never think Nintendo
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. Um, it's we saw a lot of Unreal Engine 5. Like you
Yeah.
had texted me, like you need to
Oh,
watch
yeah.
this, and like yeah, there's what is it? The I always give it the Hellblade.
Yeah.
I always want to call it Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah. So it's,
Um,
I forget what the
there's
second one is called, but anyway,
yeah,
go
me
on.
too. But they showed like facial capture, and it just completely real. It was insane.
Yeah.
It was borderline kind of like how can technology.
And the thing about that, and like the reason I wanted you to watch it, not only to see just how incredibly realistic it looks, but like, I don't know if you saw, they did a showcase at GDC with the actress who plays Senua,
Okay, no, I didn't see that.
and she literally had like this sort of helmet thing on, and in front of her face was just a phone. Literally, they recorded this on a phone, and some whatever new technology they have with Unreal was able to map out her face and perfectly, match her expressions real time onto Senua or whatever character they had for her.
Okay, so I only saw the trailer
Yeah.
of
So
just
if
her. I didn't
there's,
see her doing that.
yeah, I'll have to find it and send it to you, but it was
Yeah, send
like,
me. I'll link it. Yeah.
but yeah, it was very cool, but also kind of terrifying that
Yeah. Unreal Engine
technology is
5 is
advanced that much.
Unreal Engine 5 is crazy. And it's free.
Yeah.
Like, and you can download it and just
Yeah.
probably not to that extent.
But well, I mean, there's people that do it. There's people that will just get Unreal or Unity or whatever and
Mm-hmm.
like use the free what's the word I'm looking for? Like free components or like the pre-made things, and they'll make a game with it.
Yeah. I thought that might be kind of fun. Sit down and try one day
Yeah.
just to see what we could come up with.
Yeah.
They also put on a little, I watched like a 10-minute demonstration. Guy just kind of drove a vehicle
Yep. Mm-hmm.
and it was like completely dynamic almost. You could say, I want 50% more foliage, and it would just generate more foliage, trees
Mm-hmm.
and shrubs, and like it had a giant like tree and earth structure in
Mm-hmm.
the middle of a path that had two paths around it. He's like, maybe we just want to make it one path. So he just picks up the earth structure, moves it over, and it just generates a new, like a one path thing. Like,
Yeah.
didn't have to spend probably a year redesigning an entire level
Yeah.
like you probably would have had to in the
Yeah.
just it's incredible what they've been able to accomplish with.
Yeah. Anyone who is interested in that, we'll leave links to those videos in the description because
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
genuinely like that was one of the craziest developments I've ever seen in gaming. Like,
Yeah.
and I can't wait to see what that turns into.
I think if I think it's going to stuff like Unreal Engine 5 being able to do things like that and being free and accessible. Obviously it's going to take time to learn it
Mm-hmm.
but I think that's going to drastically cut down the times in between games,
Mm-hmm.
like development times for.
Yeah.
Whereas if you can get somebody that knows Unreal Engine 5 and can, create at that type of speed, I think you're going to see games out way sooner.
Yeah.
You might be, as we get to this new generation, it might start taking 6, 7, 8 years. That might put it down to 5.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is crazy to think about.
Zelda gameplay
Yeah.
comes out very soon, May 12th, right?
Yep. So,
This is just over a month. Are you gonna pick this day one?
probably. I think. Well, actually, you know what? I think we're gonna be out of town at that time, but
Not an
that's
excuse.
I'll. I mean, I'll get it digitally anyway. So,
Okay.
um, but yeah,
So we got a new 10-minute gameplay trailer
yeah.
where Aonuma came on screen
Mm-hmm.
about an animatronic animal like
Mm-hmm.
the last Pokemon.
Oh my god,
But
forgot about that.
he showed some really cool stuff. He showed like off the new abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Like I guess they're not really Sheikah ability. First one. I don't know. I'm assuming these aren't all of them, but he showed off 4.
Mm-hmm.
He showed off Recall, Fuse, Ultra Hand, and Ascend. So the new kind of gameplay aspect of Tears of the King is the map. I'm assuming the same as Wild.
Yeah.
Maybe not identical, but very similar. But you have floating islands
Mm-hmm.
that are way up high in the sky, and they're big and explorable. Um, but a question fans always had was how do we get all the way up there?
Mm-hmm.
And one of those ways, recall ability. So chunks of these sky islands will fall to the ground, and you can uh, recall ability on these chunks and reverse time essentially
Mm-hmm.
and ride it back up to those
Yeah.
sky islands, which I thought was pretty cool. And I'm sure that's not going to be the only way. Knowing these Zelda games, going to be probably 100 different ways you can get up there. But yeah,
Definitely, yeah. A very cool mode of traversal. And just the fact that the the islands are like slowly deteriorating or whatever, it made me wonder. Actually, just now, I just had this thought. Um, like if you get after a certain point in the game, are these islands like are they going to be like deteriorated away to the like you can't get to them anymore?
that's a
Like
good thought.
maybe, if you I mean, I'm sure there'll be some sort of gameplay aspect to it where, if there's a primary mission up there, like it's gonna have to stay there for at least that long. But over time, like if you've done the required things there, is it just gonna like continuously collapse until there's nothing left to recall or there's nothing left to go back to?
Okay, so that was the recall ability. The fuse ability was, so I think
Yeah.
one of the biggest complaints me and every single Breath of the Wild fan had was durability. So there is still weapon durability in Tears of the Kingdom, but they kind of found a fun way around that
Mm-hmm.
where you can use what seems like literally anything to one of your weapons to make them stronger. So in this trailer, he fused a rock stick,
Mm-hmm.
and it made it way more powerful, or at least more durable.
Made like a hammer out of it.
Yeah, yeah, almost like, yeah, exactly like a hammer. And this ability is going to be probably the coolest part of this game.
Oh yeah.
Uh, the or in Breath of the Wild, you would have to find fire arrows or ice arrows, and they were kind of hard to come by, or at least I don't know. But this fuse ability allows you to use enemy parts, enemy drops
Mm-hmm.
to arrows.
Yeah.
So like the weird blobs, I forget what they're called. But they drop ice ice block, and you can fuse those to the arrows and to normal arrows, and now you have ice.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool because if you collect enough of monster parts, you have a million of those,
Mm-hmm.
million ice arrows, or just any type of ice, any type of arrow you want.
Yeah.
And then the other really cool one was the bat eyes, the cat's
Mm-hmm.
eyes. You fuse that to an arrow, and now you can just blindly fire.
I forgot about that.
He blindly fire, and that arrow will find a target. Like he just shot one near a bird, and it zoomed right to the
Yeah.
bird.
It's
Didn't
like
aim anywhere close to it. I thought that was really cool.
it was like a heat-seeking missile
Yeah,
with
yeah,
an
exactly.
arrow. It was
People
nuts.
are gonna go bananas with this ability. They're just gonna try
Oh yeah.
everything just to see what. He also fused a mushroom shield. I forget what the mushroom is called, but held up a shield and the enemy attacked. It created a big smoke screen,
Mm-hmm.
so he sneak around, sneak attack.
Yeah.
That was cool. Yeah, like I said, that's gonna be probably the funnest creative.
Oh, for sure. I can't wait to
Uh,
see like on top of just playing it and, seeing what I can do on my own, like I can't wait to see what people more creative than me are going to do with that.
exactly. That's
Like,
that's half the fun of Breath of the Wild. It's just being such a physics sandbox
mhm.
of just system weird things. Like I'm still learning things about it later.
Yeah.
Like if in the desert where if you don't have the right clothes on, you're gonna get overheated. And if you don't have those clothes, you have to find other ways to not get overheated. And they uh um if you use the magnesis ability up a weapon, hold it over your head, creates shadow, and as long as you're in that shade, you're safe from the heat. That's just
That's
insane.
crazy.
That's
Like,
insane. That's just,
not something I
it's not
ever would have
dumb, but
thought of.
no.
No,
It's like,
it's dumb in like a good way. It's
yeah,
like,
exactly.
who
Like,
thought of this? Like,
yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, so Fuse is gonna be a lot of fun. Now I was kind of confused at the difference between Fuse and Ultra Hand. Fuse kind of seems like it's use something to a weapon. Ultra Hand seems like you can something to something else. Because he made a boat out of like 3 logs
mhm.
and some wind machines. So maybe that's the main difference. But
I
I think, go ahead.
I think that they are very similar if you like, you know, if you look at them technically. But I think what you're saying is right. Is Fuse would be more for like weapon upgrades and things like that, and Ultra Hand is more for building like equipment in the that you can't take with you, but that you can use in the world, I guess.
That's a good point. Yeah, because in the last trailer we got, he showed off some vehicles, a land vehicle, aerial vehicle. So
Hmm.
he said that Ultra Hand ability use is what was used.
Hmm.
So that's really cool. And I think it wasn't a complaint of mine per se, but in Breath of the Wild it was pretty difficult to get places if you went into the water, swim as long as your stamina is,
Hmm.
huge river to cross. So having this new ability makes everything a million times more.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I can attest to that. Even yesterday, I was uh, playing Breath of the Wild on stream, and I needed to get over this like canyon to get to a shrine, and it was raining the entire time. So I was like using like I think it's called like Regali's Gale or whatever, where you can call that wind gust to like shoot you up in the air, but it like wasn't getting me high enough. So I'd get like halfway up this canyon, and then I would have to try and climb, but it was raining.
And it's not to say that it's bad. I think that that's fun to have to try to find a way across a river or over there.
Hmm.
But this, I think, is going to make it more fun and even
Yeah,
more accessible, I guess.
I think it'll make the process of getting from A to B more fun because like you can get more creative with it.
Yeah.
Where
Build a
like right,
boat.
yeah, like right now, my main source of getting somewhere is finding a tower nearby and just gliding as close as I can to it. But
Right.
then if I come up on a hill that's like too steep and I can't climb it, or like it's raining and I can't climb the side of a cliff or whatever, like, you know, this could
Hmm.
give more options for traversal where you could get around situations like that.
Have you found the clothing that makes your climb speed faster?
I don't think so.
Okay, well there's an outfit, a hat, shirt, and pants that make your climb speed faster. And at the I think there you get bonuses for having all 3 of those of the same thing equipped.
Hmm.
And I have forever strongly felt that the bonus ability for wearing all 3 should have been you don't slip while it's raining.
Yeah.
And I've seen that tons of places. Like that's so frustrating when you just have to sit and wait because you're just searching for one thing that you
Hmm.
need to climb on and it's raining and you can't. You
Yeah.
just gotta sit and you wait. And you can't start a fire because obviously it's raining and this is a good game, a good physics game. It won't let you start fire in rain.
Yeah. It's so good that it pisses me off.
Yeah. But so in Tears of the Kingdom, there no more towers, no more shrines. I think, right? Did you hear that too?
I thought, yeah. Did he actually say that verbatim?
I don't I don't really know if we've gotten like actual confirmation on that. I feel like I've heard that on podcasts, but never like from a Zelda
Yeah.
trailer.
Like we
Maybe there
didn't
was a
see
press
any,
release or something. Yeah, true.
but maybe
I
they,
think
that could have been strategic.
yeah, I think from like what I've heard, and I could be completely wrong, but they're kind of going towards the old Zelda formula with the big dungeons.
Hmm.
Instead of 120 shrines, you're probably going to get like 6 really big dungeons.
Yeah.
So that might be cool.
And I think the Sky Islands or whatever they're called, I think those will probably have some sort of puzzle aspect to them as well, so
Yeah.
that you still get the feel of like the shrines without actually having to find all the shrines again, or it'd be a
Okay.
different mechanic, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so that was Ultra Hand. Ascend. Now this one doesn't worry me, but just leaves me questioning.
Hmm.
So this Ascend ability, he said, so he walked into like a small house structure, but this ability lets you climb through a ceiling and come up on top, like on the roof.
Hmm.
And we kind of saw that in another trailer where he did that on the one of the Sky Islands.
Hmm.
But he also did it in a cave, like a cave underneath a mountain.
Hmm.
And he went through the ceiling and ended up on top of that mountain.
Yeah.
I think I, I wonder the steps that they've taken to make sure that they don't break that, like players can't break the game doing this, because I just think we're going to be able to access anywhere,
Yeah.
which is probably their intent. I'm sure it is, but it just seems like nothing is off limits in this game.
I'm positive that there will be limits to it. They just haven't shown them yet. Because like
Yeah,
in Breath of the Wild, like the whole like pull of it is that you can climb anything, like any mountain, any cliff, whatever it is, you can climb it, unless you're inside a shrine, and then you can't climb the
right.
walls, you can't climb certain obstacles. Like there's gonna be things that it doesn't work on.
Hmm.
I guess the question is where are they gonna put those limitations?
Yeah, because he did say there are some restrictions, but basically, if it has a ceiling, you can loop through it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Which, like,
Pretty cool.
yeah,
It
it
looks
seems,
awesome.
yeah.
It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And can I tell you something that's kind of really random and weird?
Yeah.
But Tears of the Kingdom, I have to stop myself. Number one, from calling it Breath of the Wild, because I need to stop doing that. But as I've kind of gotten more used to saying Tears of the Kingdom, Linkin Park released a song probably a decade ago, called Keys to the Kingdom. I don't know,
Yeah.
I've probably only listened to it like 5 times in my entire life, but I keep wanting to call it Keys to the Kingdom, and I don't know why. Weird.
Yeah.
My
It's,
brain works in strange ways.
yeah.
It wasn't even that, I mean, it was a good song, but like not that memorable.
Yeah. Going off on a music tangent here, did you see that Linkin Park has released, I think, 2 songs now
I
from
have.
the
Yeah.
Meteora era?
Yeah,
And they're
just some
great.
old Chester Bennington stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. They're awesome. I
Yeah.
really
All
liked
right.
both of them.
RIP to a legend, for real.
Oh, man. That was, for you, I think you might know this, but probably our viewers don't. Linkin Park was my favorite band growing up, from like
Hmm.
age like 7 to age, you know, 16 or something. Like they were my favorite band.
I remember
Um,
listening to Linkin Park with you guys all the time.
oh yeah,
I
it was
love
a
them too.
regular.
I still listen to them.
Yeah, every now and then I'll throw on like Hybrid Theory or Meteora, one of their
Hmm.
first 2 albums that are both incredible.
When you're in like that, Linkin Park's a mood. and it's
It
not
is.
usually a good mood. So when like you're mad or sad,
It's an
just throw on
angsty
some
mood.
yeah, throw on some Chester Bennington and you'll feel a little bit better. All right, we could talk about music all day.
Yeah, that could be a whole other podcast probably.
Yeah, we could start our own music podcast.
Oh man, I have so much to say. But we won't get into that today.
Okay, another time. we got a hard stop here.
Yep.
Okay, so Final Fantasy 16. So Yoshi P and oh man, what's his name? Koji Fox they were both at PAX East in Boston, and they gave a Final Fantasy 16 presentation, which I think was really cool. It was an hour long, and so they had a media tour. I think that in February or something, and I think that we talked about that on our last episode or the episode before. But this showed a little. They invited some people to Japan, I think, and they got to play a little bit. One section of a dungeon and an icon battle, and they wanted to address some of the concerns that came from that, which I think is really cool to do. But first, they kind of talked about like the story structure. They talked about the 4 pillars that they kind of wanted to focus on for this game. They did the same thing with Final Fantasy 15. They reached these 4 pillars. It must be like a Square Enix thing. But they talked about narrative, characters, visual, and battle. Final Fantasy is a given with the narrative and the characters. Every Final Fantasy game has their own narrative, has their own characters, and they all do their own thing. Visuals is going to be a big thing. It's a PS5 exclusive. I have to check, but I'm pretty sure it's one of the first exclusive PS5 games. Like even God of War Ragnarok was on PS4. So I think it's kind of bold to say, you know what, no, it's strictly PS5.
I think
these visuals
Sorry, I think there was another one. I can't remember what it was though.
I'm sure there's been more, but one of a few at least. And then the battle system is going to be the biggest one, and they kind of address this in their concerns. The battle is going to be very different from any other Final Fantasy game. But as far as narrative, they talked about it's going to be a little Game of Thronesy. I hate putting it into that bubble, but you have 5 nations all dueling over these mother crystals, because it would not be a Final Fantasy game without crystals involved. But these mother crystals, he related it to like oil for us. Like it keeps the world running, and they're running low on this resource. So all these nations are kind of fighting for it. We got 5 nations and 1 neutral city state. All of them, I'm assuming, are going to be completely explorable. At this point, I'm good. I don't need to see any more. I don't know what kind of other things they could show me that would get me any more excited. They did say that they have more content planned in April. Again, I'll get to that. Okay, so the concerns that fans have had from that media tour back in February, they were kind of loose about it. They were fun. They were laughing and joking and just kind of made it fun.
Yeah.
But like the first thing they said was, "Why the hell is everything so dark?" And in that demo, it was very dark because it was a dungeon and it was nighttime. And I guess people were scared that the entire game was going to be in a dungeon and nighttime. And I think so Yoshi P, he spoke a little bit English, but not a ton. But he just said, "Slow down," like calm yourselves.
Yeah.
And then Koji Fox did all the translating for him. But they said that was the section that they had completely done first. It's very early on in the game, so that's why they just let them play that section, and it happens to be in a dungeon and it happens to be nighttime. So that's why the hell everything is so dark. But they had a PS5 on stage, they had the game on it, and they put it on the big screen, and he literally walked around different areas of the game and showed fans that not the whole game. The whole game isn't dark. He
Yeah.
walked around a big sunny desert in a town and a little thing like that. And it was really cool just to see him, he wanted to be able to show fans like I'm literally playing this, and like Koji Fox grabbed the controller and like made the character spin around to prove that it wasn't like a video file. He was
Yeah.
actually playing it. So the main character's just dancing around. But that was funny. I guess people were concerned about the QTEs, which is, I don't know, a valid concern. But the QTEs were a way to make the battles a little more cinematic. They wanted like these big icon battles to be dynamic and have the fields of battle change, have the enemies change. And the QTEs were a way to do that without like disengaging the player. Instead of just showing you a cutscene and just, leaving you to, I don't know, put your controller down, they wanted you to be able to, take part in that transition, which I think is fine. He said that there's not really a penalty, there's no game over for missing a QTE, like it kind of was in like Resident Evil 4 when you had to dodge out of the way of a rock and you don't do it, you get squished. Like, things like that aren't going to happen. Yeah, the next one said like shove your action. I want the ATB, which is active time battle, which is kind of like turn-based stuff.
Okay.
Which ATB I don't think has really been a thing since Final Fantasy 13. There was some elements of it in 15, but I mean, not really. But I think he just kind of said like to those people who want turn-based and not the action, he's like, I'm sorry. It's like you're just not gonna find it in this game. My bad. Like that was just kind of funny. But he did talk about these timely accessories, which I've talked about before, where they're equipable items that can make the game a little easier for you. He showed those off while playing. Some of them, combat is kind of, I don't know, it doesn't look difficult, but there's a lot of combinations. Like you can switch between your icon abilities and do magic and icon abilities and normal attack, and you can be pushing a lot of buttons all at once, to get these really cool combos. One of these timely accessories you can equip, and all you have to do is hold down the square button, and it'll do all those combos for you.
Really?
Yeah, so I think that's kind of the way Final Fantasy 15 worked. Like all you had to do was hold down a button, and he would just do all the attacks. And it was a little deeper than that, but not much. Another one was like an auto evade, and another one was like pause to evade. I forget what the name is. But as an enemy attacked you, like time would slow down, and you'd have like a moment to dodge out of the way.
Okay.
So if these action games aren't your thing, sorry, it's not a turn-based game, but you can equip these things and make this game as easy as possible, and you can just absorb the Final Fantasy story that you probably want to.
Yeah.
They talked about the icon battles. They had better not all be the same. And they've talked about those before. They're not all the same. They're not just big monster fighting other big monster by mashing square and stuff like that. There's going to be different, I don't want to say genre bending aspects to these fights, but like one they said was like an on-rail shooter where you're just probably just zooming around a map and shooting something like that. But he said they're not all the same. They're very different. So you'll have that. And then the last one was you took the RPG out of my ARPG. So people were upset that it just didn't seem like an RPG. Which, again, I don't really know what that means. But I think maybe people want it to be like, I don't know. When I think of like a Japanese RPG. I think being able to like tinker with stats and with weapons and stuff like that, just to like get your stats in the perfect way you want, and maybe people didn't think that this kind of game would have that, and he said, "Relax. There's going to be plenty of RPG elements in this," and they said there would be more info on that in April, so soon. So yeah, that was everything. Again, it was kind of a fun watch. It was long, but Yoshi P is the producer of Final Fantasy 16. He was the producer of Final Fantasy 14 as well, and it's just kind of, he's like a fun personality. You know, he just kind of went up there and he had fun with it, and he just very honest. I like that. I think more developers or more game studios should take lessons from that, and just get up on stage and be like, "Hey, we heard you guys have concerns about this, and here's this. You know, here's me playing the game just to show you."
Yeah.
So I think that was really cool.
Yeah.
You didn't happen to watch that at all?
I did not.
Loser.
But yeah, I know. Fake gamer once again.
Yeah, it's all right.
But something I think I completely agree with you about. This is something that other developers should take notes on, is just the fact like that they didn't just put out a statement or have like a one-line thing during the presentation that was like scripted over 100 times that just said like, "We see your concerns and we are addressing these issues as a whole." Like they literally pointed out like, "You guys think it's too dark? Here's why it's not. You guys don't want the QTE. Here's how this is how we're addressing that." Like they're taking literal like individual issues that people have and saying, "This is how we're addressing that." They're not just saying like, "Oh, there'll be an update in a future patch or whatever." Like,
yep. Yeah, it was really cool. That was like the first time I've seen Yoshi P present like that, and I think he's my new favorite person in the world ever.
I can see the little hearts in your eyes for
him. Yeah,
right
they're there. And you do, the name of the presentation was "Can you pet the Torgal?" And Torgal is the dog. And yes, you can pet the Torgal. There was a funny moment where Koji Kondo asked Yoshi P to, when he was demoing these timely accessories, to go up and show how easy it is just to pet the dog whenever you want. And he had pushed the wrong button. He had pushed the attack button.
Oh no.
So he like swung his flaming sword at the dog, and the crowd was like gasped. Yeah, it was hilarious. And then it showed, yeah, you just walk up to the dog and press, I don't know, triangle or whatever, and you can just pet him and give him treats, and everybody loved that. So there you go. You can pet the Torgal.
Game of the year.
Hey, I already called that. in the in one of our episodes.
Well, now I'm on board because you can pet the dog and you can give him treats.
You can pet the dog. Yep. Yeah. He's a big doggy too. He's fluffy.
He's a big fluffy boy.
Okay, well that's all I've got to say. I could ramble about Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Forever.
Well,
let's see, we've got some time here. Let's unpack some Resident Evil 4, shall we?
We shall. So, we've said this in previous episodes before, but both of us have a pretty long history with Resident Evil 4. Even having, like, did you play it actually?
Yeah, okay. I had it on my GameCube back in the day.
Yeah. So I never really played it, but we had a mutual friend, shout out Steven, who played it religiously. And
I'd like to point out, I'm the one that introduced Steven to Resident Evil 4.
Okay.
That was me. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. I did show him it, but yeah, he played it way more than I did.
Yeah.
Like he beat it like 50 times.
Oh, yeah.
Easily.
I remember.
That's not an exaggeration.
I remember being there when he was going through all of his save files, and he was at least at number like 21. And I was like,
yeah,
dude, like, what do you like?
And it's
What
it's
else
a
do
fun
you
game.
do?
That's all we did was play games back in the
Oh
day,
yeah,
man.
absolutely.
But Resident Evil does a really good job. Like they're short games.
Mm-hmm.
They probably only take like what 5, maybe 6 hours to get through, but they are probably one of the best franchises at replayability because they
Mm-hmm.
just unlock more and more stuff more times you play through it. Like I think if you beat RA4, I don't remember how many times, 5 times, 10 times, whatever, you finally unlock the Tommy gun,
Mm-hmm.
and you can just rip through everybody. Like who wouldn't want to do that? Like
Yeah,
just
it's a
just
complete
put the
game
time in.
changer.
Yeah. So that was fun. Um but as far as the new one, like yeah, you and me were scaredy boys. Like I don't like I watched you play what was that game like Morgue
Mortuary
Assist?
assistant. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I probably wouldn't be much better. So you don't play
So
scary games?
yeah. So my only experience with the remake of Resident Evil 4 is I was uh sort of pressured by the same friend that we were just referring to into playing the demo for it. The chainsaw demo, I think it was called.
Mm-hmm.
So you just play through literally the first like maybe 30 minutes. Not even that.
Just that
Um
opening
just that
village.
opening village, yeah.
Okay.
Um, and I, first of all, I started playing it. I walked like 10 feet and I was like, hey, Jetpack, like, can you come sit with me? Like, so I
Leave the
waited
lights
for
on.
her to finish working so she could come sit with me.
Genius.
Because I didn't
Yes.
want to play it alone.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I played through like into the part where, you get into the actual combat where you're in the village and, all like the horde is coming after you and stuff, and I died like 4 or 5 times before I was like, you know what, I don't think this game's for me.
That's why demos are good, man.
Yeah,
Demos are really good.
yeah, but
Um, sorry. Go ahead.
what I will say about it is, the same thing everyone else is saying. It looks fantastic. It's getting rave reviews.
Yeah, it deserves it.
The like it Even just from my short amount of time with the demo, I can see how this is going to be incredible for Resident Evil fans.
Mhm.
I just cannot get behind that. Something about the gameplay, like something about the shooting mechanic, even though you can actually move around now while you're
Yeah.
shooting,
Right.
it's just I don't have the patience to like, you know, aim and walk back super slowly, get a couple shots in and then run away and like, you know, it's a strategy that I've never picked up, like how to
Yeah,
play that game.
and I would probably agree with you on that. I would maybe get it for nostalgia reasons,
Mm-hmm.
but again, I don't know how much I would enjoy it. I mean, shooters in general, I just found myself getting further and further away from. Um, I've been watching a Let's Play on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite YouTuber, Christopher Odd.
Mm-hmm.
He's I've watched maybe a few hours. I don't think he's gotten to the castle yet, but it, like you said, it looks really good. There's I like what they kind of did with the merchant. I
Mm-hmm.
just like how it's the same but different.
Yeah.
Like the merchant's cool. He's got his own little shop thingy now. Like before in the first game or in the original, he just kind of like stood there and opened his
Yeah.
coat and what are you buying? And then
Thank
that's
you.
all. Perfect. Yeah, that was it. But now he's got like his own stand, like he's got his own little areas. Like it's just cool. It's fun,
Mm-hmm.
and this is weird, but this is again my brain. I love a good UI.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if this game has a beautiful UI,
Yeah.
and I think they absolutely nailed it. Like 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 the UI sounds like as you're navigating through a menu. Is it a tick or a pop or a chime or whatever, like the little sound that it makes is perfect. Like, and just the way navigating a menu, like the merchant's menu, like it's just like I might just buy it just for that. Just for that. I don't know why. That's like, so weird.
No, I can fully relate to that.
Like if a game has a crappy UI, like the past 3 Assassin's Creed games, like that like the Destiny one, you know what I'm talking about, where you just got your character sitting in the middle and you got boxes on the sides, like puke, gag me. It's bad. Get rid of it. Follow Resident Evil 4's. Just get that sound down. Let's get the look looking good. And I will buy your game just for that.
Something that I want to touch on real quick that I don't know does the
before I keep talking about UI.
No, it's about UI. In Resident Evil 4, is it a cursor system? Like, is the menu a cursor where you have to use the stick and like drag it around, or can you
in the
go
remake?
Like, yeah.
The guy I'm watching is on PC, so I don't know.
It is okay, so he would be doing it.
See, yes, he does have a cursor, but I would doubt it. The cursor based UI, puke. Get rid of it.
It sucks so
it's not
bad.
Good. If we wanted to play it on a PC, we would. Otherwise, let us just navigate it with a controller without the cursor.
It's so frustrating, and like even if you're playing on PC, you can use a controller. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's not something that everyone wants to do to be able, and it's every like open world or RPG type game now. That's the menu system, and it
probably makes it so easy for porting games for them. It's probably makes it so easy for them, but stop it.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Nobody likes it.
Nobody likes it.
I watched a video yesterday about like 10 things that games need to stop doing immediately, and that was one of the first ones. Was like,
yeah, I would petition for games to never do those again. And it's like even the new like the Gotham Knights games, they use that. Like it's just there's so many games doing it. And like The Witcher kinda did it, but it wasn't cursor based, and I think it was just that was like the maximum amount of character with windows around it that I want.
Yeah.
And then Assassin's Creed just took it to a whole new level, and everybody else followed them.
Yeah.
But I guess we don't have as much to say about RE4 than good job. Good job, Capcom.
Congratulations, Capcom. Congratulations to all of the diehard Resident Evil fans. I hope you enjoy it.
Where do they go from here? Do they remake Resident Evil 5?
I don't know.
Because nobody liked Resident Evil 5.
I don't think people really liked Resident Evil 6 either.
It was very, very different.
Well, was 5 the one in Africa?
God, I don't know, dude.
Okay. I know either 5 or 6 was in Africa, and that was there was people are looking back on it now with kind of a negative view because of the fact that most of the infected are African people.
Oh, yeah.
So I think they might just avoid that altogether, just to steer clear of the backlash.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think they've remade all their popular ones. Well, they haven't done. They didn't remake Resident Evil like 1 or 0. Like remade?
I think so.
I don't think so. I think they started with 2.
I think 2 was the first one that they like really revamped, but I think they did do something for Resident Evil.
I thought it was just like a an up-res or something. It still looked like poop.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I think it was just like an HD remaster.
Yeah, that very vague term that doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, like I think that'll be one of the biggest like debates throughout all of gaming history. It's like, is it a remake or a remaster?
Remake versus remaster versus what's the other one? I don't know. Uh Final Fantasy VII remake is a remake.
Yeah, from the ground up.
Last of Us Part 1 is not a remake.
No, and
No.
I
And just shame on Neil Druckmann for saying it was.
yeah, Neil, should we get into the Last of Us discussion?
I have 9 minutes, so
Okay, well, we'll try and keep this short.
okay.
So, God, that's gonna be hard. The Last of Us Part 1 has released on PC, to not great reception.
It's been a little buggy. I've seen some funny ones.
Yeah, there's been some hilarious screenshots of it. But overall, just God, I'm so disappointed. Like I haven't played it on PC. I'm probably not going to because I already own it on PS5. But the amount of people who have never gotten to play one of the best games of all time because they are strictly PC gamers that now get this impression of it, like
Yeah.
it
Like
just
most of them are
seems
just most of them we're going to be asking for a refund.
yeah.
And Steam usually gives it to them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something I would want to know, these secrets. Like Naughty Dog knew that this game was going to be bad.
Yeah.
Like there's no way they didn't know it wasn't ready and they
Mhm.
shouldn't release it. Like why didn't they just say, "Hey, we know it's supposed to come out soon, but it's just not ready. It's delayed indefinitely." And now they release it. Now they're going to have to spend, now they got all the backlash and
Mhm.
they got to spend time fixing it. And I
Yeah.
know they probably want to get moved on to their next project, or if they feel if they just release this, they can move on. But now you can't. You kind of can't because people called you out for releasing a bad game, and now you have to fix it. Just it baffles me.
Yeah. It just, I felt like we were on after The Last of Us 2 where, the entire was divided. We were kind of back on an upward slope. They had part 1 come out that even though it was, $70, people didn't really like that. It was not broken, very
No.
well, like very well remastered, and it, in my opinion, I think it is the like optimal way to play that game. Then the show came out, and the show is phenomenal. Like, they had kind of everything going for them. I wish they would have not been so like dead set on capitalizing on their popularity, because I think
Hmm.
that's what it was. Like the show
Yeah,
just ended.
that's a good
Let's
point.
get the PC port out there. All these new players are going to come in. Like I wish they would have just understood that they really needed to get this right, and they should just take the extra time because now Naughty Dog has one of their major titles on PC and it's not good.
Yeah.
Like
Part two
it
isn't on PC yet.
no, part 1 is the only, as far as I
Hmm.
know, is Naughty Dog's only game on PC.
Hmm. I know Horizon Zero Dawn had some troubles coming to PC, but I mean
Mhm.
they fixed them quickly. I don't know. I don't. And
Yeah.
PlayStation is really trying. They want their games more accessible, and I think that's a
Yeah.
good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, they went about it the wrong way. They should have just delayed it, and now you got
Yeah.
to deal with it.
Yeah. So we'll see what the future of that holds. I really like, and it brings me back to what we were talking about with Final Fantasy, where you know, they didn't just put out a blanket statement like, we heard your concerns, we're addressing it. Even though that's before the game releases. Like, but
Mhm.
that's all that Naughty Dog did, was they put out a statement on Twitter or something that said like, "We've heard you. We'll address this in future patches or whatever," and that's basically been it. Um, and they put out a statement recently saying that they're not making Steam Deck compatibility a priority, which
Okay.
I don't know why they wouldn't focus on that. Like,
Probably because they didn't have time to,
yeah,
would be my guess.
it
Like
just
it's can't be an easy thing for game developers to port something like that. Like
no.
it seems like it should just be like a click and drag type thing, but it obviously it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
It so I don't know, maybe they only had time to almost finish the just this it's the normal Steam release, not the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
But all right, one of these days we'll get to our impressions of the show.
Mm-hmm.
We keep saying if we have time, but we never do, because we
Yeah.
talk about E3 for 30 minutes, but that's fine. But I have to go. I'm going to go watch the new Mario movie
Yeah.
that came out today.
Is today the release for it?
It is. It is. It came
Wow.
out last night. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Um,
you have fun with that.
I will.
I'm sure we will have a discussion for it in the next episode
Oh,
whenever
I
we
will.
can.
So far, I've seen the Rotten Tomatoes is not good.
Really?
So we'll we'll see.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I look forward
how.
to talking about that.
This is why it's good having a kid, Jake,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't look as weird going to see these kinds of kids movies. Like if you want to go see a kids movie by yourself, do it. But if you have a kid with you, that's even better.
Yeah.
So
I went to Detective Pikachu by myself a few years ago, and
I still need to watch that. Did you like it?
I thought it was good.
It was fine.
You know,
I mean, these are
Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu, but
yeah.
it was, it wasn't amazing, but it had like a charm to it.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess I'll outro us because you did the intro. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching 10th episode of the A to Jump podcast.
Mm-hmm.
As always, find Gooba on Gooba and Jetpack's YouTube channel. They make really good videos. They're funny.
Thank you.
As for me, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing right now. You can watch some of the videos that I put up. That's fine. But anyway, yes. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time. Oh,
Thanks,
and
guys.
keep on gaming.
Keep on gaming. Pause, everyone. We are having some technical difficulties. We are going to be watching, like, just Justin frozen.
No, he's not frozen. Every time he moves his head, something disconnects from the computer.
He's not real. Justin is AI.
I
is
have
just
been
me talking
AI
to
this whole
myself.
time. I never show my fingers. Tears of the Kingdom, which comes out very soon.
Yeah, we are a little over a month away, I think.
Excuse me while I die.
Yeah,
So let's move on to Zelda gameplay.
Okay, we're gonna put like a super clickbaity title, like Justin died on camera, like
big arrow pointing at me. Oh man, this episode's gonna be a bitch to edit.
Let me get my thoughts together real quick.
Do it.
All right, you ready?
Ready.
You're just gonna include this part in
Yeah,
there.
I'll put it at the end. Yep.
All right. Okay. Hey everybody, welcome to fuck. I already missed it.
See, like we do so good, and then we just stop ourselves from.
Yeah, I know. I could feel it being not good. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Feel that.
Okay.